My name is Alyssa and I love to read, but over the years I've accumulated a lot of books, 260 to be exact, and now I'm left feeling overwhelmed. So I've decided to embark on a project where I read through my books and try to get my to-be-read list down to nothing. I'm calling this project TBR Zero. Hi everyone, my name is Alyssa, I read, and welcome to another reading vlog. So, from what you can probably gather from the intro, I am currently working through my entire TBR. I've decided to embark on this very long and extensive project where I try and complete my TBR. I have too many books on my bookshelves, and so this week I'm specifically focusing on the Historical Romance Readathon. This is a readathon that's happening currently. It did technically start yesterday, so I'm starting on day 2. Out of my entire collection, I'm divided my books into 3 different sections. I divided it into entire series, standalones, and incomplete series. And during this project, I'm focusing on my entire series. So for this readathon, I am using books that I own the entirety of. The first of which is The London Underground. I have books 2 and 3 here. I already read book 1, so I won't be reading that because I've already read it. But I'll be moving on to book 2 and then book 3. Book 2 is Counting on the Countess, and book 3 is Dare to Love a Duke. And these have to do with characters who are somehow part of the London Underground, meaning they kind of are part of the black market, or they are swindlers or something like that. And I'm loving this series so far. And then the second series, I forget what this series is called, but these 2 are part of it, written by Lindsay. I don't remember which one is book 1 and which is book 2. But I have both copies. I have Defy the Heart and Joining. I don't know all the synopses for this for these 2 series, but I'm going to be focusing on these. I got Counting on the Countess on audiobook, but unfortunately this is the only audiobook I can find except for this one, which is A Lady in Disguise by Lindsay. This is a standalone. So if I finish this audiobook first, which I think I might, I'll move on to this for my audiobook. I have several prompts here. Okay, so I have the bingo board here. So I do have a cover that is green/red on the cover, so I have that prompt there. I am not reading a Grace Burroughs, so that's unfortunate. Takes place during winter. I'm not too sure, but this is in the mountainside and there's snow on the cover, so we'll have to see about that. Marriage in Trouble, I'm not too sure if I have that. A 2021 release. I probably don't have one of those. If I don't know, then it's probably not. No, I don't have that one. A non-titled hero. Actually, this one, I think the hero is not titled. I think he might be a knight or something like that. So I think that would work. So I think he's probably not titled, but I guess I'll have to see once I read the book. In a series, I'm reading books in a series. New to me author. Unfortunately, I think I've read everyone so far. Oh my goodness, this is not going well. A clinch cover. That's a clinch cover. That's a clinch setback. So there you go. Not in Europe. That might be a problem. I don't think I have anything. The only possibility is maybe this one, but I have a feeling it's probably still in Europe, so that's not going on. Rogue in the title. The hero here is a rogue, so I know that. A wallflower. You could probably consider, I've started reading this already, so I could probably consider Tamsin a wallflower, possibly. She's a little bit of a spinster. I might count that. Marriage Convenience for sure in here. Recommended to me. Technically none of them are, but I've heard all these authors before, so I might check that one off. A lady heroine. I think she's a lady. I think most of them are ladies of some sort. And then book you already own. I owned all these books. So I have some check marks here. I remember looking at this bingo board before and like realizing that it's very possible I won't get bingo, and I'm like kind of upset by it, but you know, whatever. I may have to cheat a little bit in order to get everything checked off, but that is what my board is looking at right now. We'll check in at the end of the week if I've gotten any of the prompts or all the prompts. I might look up Grace Burrows and see if maybe there's a short story I can find. I'm not reading the group book because I really want to read the books I already own, so unfortunately that's not going to happen. I will be looking up the Instagram prompts and try and participate in that. But that is my current TBR as of right now. And I will be checking with you once I get some books read. So, I probably should have mentioned already, I probably did, that I'm currently reading Counting on the Countess. I started it last night, so I did technically start on day one. I'm reading it on audiobook and I'm loving it. I'm halfway through basically, and I'm loving this audiobook so much. And I just love this series because I just love reading about characters who are somehow doing illegal activity in the Regency era. I don't know why, I just really love it. And in book 1 and in book 2, it's the heroine who is doing the illegal activity. So in book 1, she was a swindler, and in here, she is selling goods on the black market, and she's only doing it because she is sorry if you can hear my daughter, but she's only doing it because her estate is crumbling. She's left to her own devices by her uncle because she is an orphan, and her uncle does not take care of her or the estate that her family used to own. And so she deals, she sells whiskey, I think it is, or brandy, on the black market, and she's been doing it in order to help the village that the estate is responsible for. So her reasons are like good reasons, but she needs to find a husband because her uncle is now going to sell the estate, and she's really worried about the state of her business. And so she strikes up a bargain with Kit, who is a war veteran, and he is titled now because of his acts of heroism on the battlefield, but he's about to go into debt, I guess, and he's come upon this money from someone who is above him. Anyways, he gets money from his old mentor during the war, but there is a catch to it. He has to get married in order to receive this fortune, and so they kind of strike up a situation where, you know, she needs money as well for the estate and her village. And he needs money to pay off his debts, and he also wants to open a pleasure garden, which is just like a public park basically. So it's good so far. The chemistry is really good. I'm a little annoyed by the heroine because, like, she is so I don't want to call her a ninny, but she's just like so scared to go to bed with him, and it's getting a little like annoying. But I do like how he's just like he's like so infatuated with her, and she's, you know, the chemistry is definitely there, but she is hiding this business from him. Somehow this business has come to London because they're staying in London, and she has to keep it a secret. So I can't wait till things kind of blow up from there, or where he finds out. I'm really excited for that. I wish we got more of the kind of illicit activity. We've only seen a little bit. It's mostly about the relationship right now and like trying to figure out how it's working. And the other stipend is, and he didn't know this, but once they finally got married, she is actually in complete control of the money, and he has to come to her if he wants anything. And since he wants to open this this pleasure garden, he's nervous about bringing it to her, and like now they have this like awkward dynamic that she's in control of all the funds and he has to come to her for everything. And the stipend is there because he's been not good with money. He gambles a lot and things like that. So anyways, I do really like this. So far it's more leaning like towards like a 4. But I'm loving the audiobook. I love the narrator, and I highly recommend this series so far. So I'll share my thoughts once I finish the book. So it's time for another update for the readathon. I'm on day 3, and I finished Counting on a Countess by Eva Lee, and I listened to this entirely on audiobook, and I really enjoyed the audiobook a lot. I enjoy the narrator because she did a really good job of distinguishing voices, and I can say that because I started another audiobook and it's not quite doing that, but I was quite impressed by this narrator. I should probably look up who it is, but unfortunately it was fine. It was fine. It was good-ish. I still enjoyed my time listening to it because it was a historical, and I liked the characters, but then sometimes I wouldn't. I think I liked the ideas of the characters more than maybe what they were doing. They do go into a marriage of convenience, which I did like, and they both kind of had their own secrets. She had her selling goods on the black market, and I did like that side of her, and I liked how she did that to help support her village. She was orphaned, and so her uncle and aunt didn't take care of her very well, or the town that the state supported, and so she kind of put on the burden on herself, and the only way she could think of to help support this village was to get goods on the black market and resell them. And so I like that aspect. I wish there was more of it, and I wish it was more lighthearted, because when it became revealed that she did this, the guy was angry, and I thought it'd be more fun if it was more, he took a more lighthearted approach, or be just more like surprisingly intrigued that she partakes in this, but it didn't go that way. And then he was kind of tricking her a bit to get her good graces because she's in control of the money, and he wants money to fund a project. And when that was revealed, she was mad, and I kind of wish it was more lighthearted, I guess. And I don't know, I felt like it was carrying on and on near the end, and so I'm giving it 3 stars, which is unfortunate. I still I didn't mind listening to it, so that's why I finished it. Normally, if it's like a 3-star and I'm just not feeling it, I would just DNF it, but I was willing to still listen and just keep on hoping maybe it'll get better. And it's not bad or anything, I just wasn't superly excited, especially near the end. I felt like I was just kind of pushing through to just finish it. So unfortunately, I'm giving this 3 stars. I wish there was more underground stuff, but there wasn't as much as I would have liked. But since audiobooks are really working for me, I decided to pick up A Lady in Disguise by Lindsay Sands. And this is so fun. I'm like almost done, but it's so fun. It reads more like a romantic comedy in a way, because there's a miscommunication, and the miscommunication is played off for laughs. But we follow Lady Maggie, or Margaret, and she is an investigative journalist. She writes these articles, and her brother used to do it, but then he went off to war and he died. And so she, in order to support her household, because even though she hasn't left the estate or whatever, her brother left his townhouse to her, which includes the servants and butler and whatnot. And so she feels responsible for these servants who've been part of her life her entire life. And so she decides to take up this position in order to help support her staff. So she's a working woman, which I really liked. She's at this brothel to learn about the business, to write an article. There's a mix-up. She ends up having to switch dresses with a prostitute because she's worried about being found out. There's kind of this mix-up happening. So she leaves in a prostitute attire, so she's not properly dressed. And in the meantime, there's Lord James, and Lord James was her brother's friend from war, and before her brother died, he asked him to look out for Maggie. So he hired an investigator, or what are they called, a runner or whatever, to look up information about Maggie. And unfortunately, this runner assumes that she is a famous prostitute, which she's not, but he is misguided to believe that she is, because I guess he found her at the brothel at this time while she was doing her work. And so Lord James takes it upon himself to capture her, of all things, to take her to his estate. And so they kidnap her, but he believes he's doing it to like save her, kind of thing, and try to convince her to maybe take up a different profession. So there's this kind of miscommunication. It's played off for laughs though, so I found myself laughing out loud during this book for sure. The whole like, is she a prostitute, is she not thing doesn't happen the entire book, but it's a good long time where you're like, okay, when is this gonna blow up? When are things going to get revealed? And it does turn into a romance, and I really having a lot of fun with this one. It's like not a 5-star, but it's definitely like a really good 4-star. And if you like laughing, if you like having a good time, like I definitely recommend this. I think it's quite funny. So I'm having a really good time listening to this. I'm almost done. After I finish that, I probably will pick up another audiobook, because that's just really working for me today. It allows me to putter around and do things. Once I finish this audiobook, I'm gonna switch to physically reading. Unfortunately, I'm still in the middle of a previous vlog, and I really need to like finish a wedding in December, and it's not part of this vlog, but I'm only 50 pages in, and it's like a 350 page book, so I really need to like make good progress on this. So that's probably gonna be my focus. So I don't know how much reading I'm gonna get done, but I will just tell you, I'm giving this 4 stars. It's probably gonna be a 4-star when I finish it. I'm really having a good time reading this. This was also called The Reluctant Reformer, so if you're looking to maybe pick this up, that's another title. The next audiobook I think I will pick up is 50 Ways to Ruin a Rake by Jade Lee. This was not part of my original TBR, but I'm realizing like I need more audiobooks, and unfortunately my TBR previously doesn't have any audiobooks through my library, so I don't know anything about this audiobook, but I have book 2 in this trilogy, and so I would like to read book 1 first, which I think is the 50 Ways to Ruin a Rake. I'm not sure, but this will take the prompt for the rake prompt. I did borrow Lady Sophie's Christmas Wish. I've been hearing not great things about it, so, and I don't know if I want to read the short story. I will maybe get to them if I run out of audiobooks through my library. But as of right now, I think I might just skip it and just move on to books that I have on my TBR that I need to read anyways. So yeah, that's my update for right now. It's hard to believe, but it is the last day of the readathon, and I do have updates for you. I did end up finishing A Lady in Disguise by Lindsay Sands. I just sat down and made sure just to listen to it because I only had like an hour or so left. This was a lot of fun. It was definitely leaning towards like romantic comedy, goofy a little, like it was kind of silly, but not in a bad way. I really liked it. It was a lot of fun. I don't know if all her stories are like that, but I could just like picture this being like a comedy. It kind of gave me, it's not like the importance of being earnest, but it definitely gave me those kind of vibes where there's a lot of like miscommunication in the storyline. There was a suspense plot in here as well, which brought a little bit of seriousness to it. It wasn't campy, the serious side, but it ended on a light note and a silly note. So I really liked this. It was a lot of fun. I'm giving it 4 stars. Not that there was anything wrong with it. It was just kind of, that's where I just felt. It was a lot of fun reading. I definitely recommend it if you're looking for a historical that is lighthearted. And I'm so excited to read more by Lindsay Sands because I know she doesn't just write historical, she also writes paranormal romance, and I love paranormal romance, so I do want to check out her, it's a Quick Bite. I think that's her first book in her vampire series, so at some point I do want to get to that series. And then I moved on to Joining by Lindsay Sands. Out of the books that I had, this is the one that I want it to read. I like the setback, but I don't. They make them look so old. Like, they look like they're in their 40s when really they're like, she's 18 and he's 25. I'm really liking this. It's very different because it's a medieval historical romance. So I have to look up the date because I don't actually know, but it definitely reads like medieval times where they have So it's 12, 14. They have their own keeps and stuff, or estates, but every like earl or baron or, you know, like any titled person has their own knights and things like that. It's kind of in a situation where I think it's King Richard. I can't remember which king, but the king kind of took over the throne from his brother. Like, I'm assuming he killed his brother in order to claim the throne, and he is despised. There is, I think he's an earl. I forget what his title is, but there's someone who's out for the Earl of Shefford because he was envious of his marriage to Anna. He loved her, I guess, but also she came, I think, with some land or money or something like that. So he's kind of out for Millicent, who is going to be marrying the Earl's son. So the Earl's son is Wulfric. He and Millicent have been engaged for a long time. So this other person doesn't want this marriage to happen because it will line these two families together. These two families have a lot of history. They're good friends and allies. And so this marriage has been set up even before they were born. Millicent, the thing that's interesting about her is she's a bit wild according to their language. She likes dressing up as a boy. She likes hunting, and she really takes to animals, and she does all the things that women aren't supposed to do, but that's just who she is. She's a free spirit, and she has met Wulfric in the past when they were children and they had a very bad encounter, so she's just not happy with the idea of marrying him. But he has come to claim her. He's been putting it off because of their bad encounter. He's not really excited about this marriage either. And so it's about them kind of getting to know each other. I'm like halfway through, almost halfway through. Only one kiss has happened. It's a romance, but like I'm more enjoying, for one thing, Millicent. I think she's such an interesting character. I like reading about her, and I like her free spirit. But also, I like the setting. I really am enjoying this medieval setting. It reads like a fantasy in a lot of ways, and I don't know, this setting just feels so anxious because I just can't imagine living in that time and era. It would just be really hard to live during that time period. But yeah, I'm enjoying all those aspects. There are people out for Millicent. They want her dead. They're trying to kill her because they don't want this connection to happen. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm liking it a lot. But like I said, like it reads very distant. It doesn't feel like I'm like immersed in the romance, if that makes any sense. I feel like I'm just being told a story, I guess. And so I feel like I'm being put at a distance a little bit. I have a feeling that is Johanna Lindsay's writing style. Also, this reads like Old English. It's not hard for me to read, but like they talk like they're in medieval times. Like, I'm trying to find examples here. They use words like nay. Nay, Papa, you know that was not my intention. I, they use nay and I, and dist. So this is where you dist hide all day. Mayhap. It's just like, they use, like, they talk like they are in that time period. So it's a bit of an adjustment. Tis time, my lady. Yeah, so that's of note. The other thing was they did talk about child marriages, which I didn't like, and I was nervous going in because I did try Johanna Lindsay's A Pirate Story, I think, or A Pirate's Love, which had sexual assault in it, unconsensual, and I couldn't finish it. I stopped reading the book, so I was like, are we gonna go there? Because that would be very disturbing. Luckily, it wasn't like that. They just kind of mentioned it. It wasn't like they went into details or anything, but I thought I should mention it because, like, it is part of this time period where things like that happened. I do like how the two characters are older. Like, she's 18 and I think he's like either like 23, 25. So that's fine with me, especially in historical setting. And I'm glad they just did that. I'm glad that the writer did that. And I'm kind of like surprised by this story of, you know, a forward-thinking woman who wants to do what she wants to do, and she's not, you know, she wants to dress like a man, and they are telling her that she can't. There is that kind of narrative in here. It's not respectable, and how he's kind of trying to reform her a little bit. So she does end up like wearing dresses eventually, but she's not stopping her spirit, which I appreciate. So I don't know which direction it's gonna go. It doesn't really bother me too much because it is like the time period was like that, but I'm still like thankful that the character is still headstrong and willing to challenge the hero in his own thinking. So anyways, I am enjoying it. I'm almost halfway, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this today. I'm not going to like force myself to if it's not possible. So I might extend this vlog longer until I do finish this book, but I am liking it so far. So I am happy to announce that I finally finished Joining by Joanna Lindsay. So it is Monday, so I only got to finish it today, so I extended my readathon just one more day so I can finish this because I do want to share my thoughts on this. So this was promising at first. I was really intrigued by the setting. I feel like I might have read a historical set in medieval times, and I know that is something that I do enjoy, and I liked the setup of this where these powerful families were friends, like the two men, and they set up or arranged this marriage before the hero and heroine were married. So I found that interesting because it was realistic to this time. Like, this was very commonplace in medieval times to have this kind of arranged marriage. And I liked her heroine a lot. I loved how she was very different, and she didn't like, I wouldn't say she acted like a man, but she liked dressing in pants and hunting, and she's really good with the bow and arrow, and I loved all those things about her. There was talk in here about her not being ladylike and how, you know, it's important for her to act like a lady still, and that there's a time and place for things. So like, obviously these kind of conversations aren't really, you know, different sentiments than we do nowadays. So old ways of thinking do happen in here, but I thought that a heroine like that, even when this was written, was kind of forward thinking. This was written in 1999. It's still kind of dated in some regards. I already talked about the child brides. Unfortunately, there were a couple of sexual assaults in here. The first one, obviously I felt unsettled reading about it. Didn't bother me as bad because it was from a villainous character. It was towards our heroine. There was no R word involved in that scene. Basically what happened was the king of England proposed bedding her, as they would call it, and she didn't want that to happen, so she had to kick him and run away in order to avoid that happening. And if she wouldn't have done that, he probably would have gotten away with it. So unfortunately, she kind of had to force her way out of that situation. Kind of similar, not quite, situation happened with the hero, which I was really like upset by, and I was kind of scared. I have read another book by this author where the hero takes advantage of the woman without consent, so R word. And so I was glad that he didn't go through with it. He was angry, the hero. So he was angry, he was mad at the heroine and was going to bed her. And it wasn't until she was in tears and begged him to not to that he walked away from the situation. And that left me feeling really uncomfortable. Like, it really did. Like, to me, like, you know, consent is consent, right? I still kept reading. I wasn't sure if I was gonna enjoy it anymore, and I recognize, you know, this is an older title, 1999, maybe not the best situation. I also recognize the time setting, you know, medieval times where that was a thing. And so, I don't know, I just really was left uncomfortable Plus, the romance was kind of promising. Like, I hate to love romance, but like, she was so dead against this relationship. They talked about her feelings, possibly like feelings stirring up in her, but there was no fun, flirty banter or anything like that. It was just like her, no, 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 no. Even though she's like having like confusing feelings, always no, 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 no. And before them getting married, there was like 2 encounters between the hero and heroine. He kissed her once, and then I think so, and then he kissed her another time, and they kind of fooled around a bit, but it was like she enjoyed her time, but then they got interrupted. And that was it before like them actually following through with sexual relations. So, and even then, like there wasn't a lot of like romantic scenes. It was always like they're fighting or bickering, or he's angry with her and she's angry with him. And I think it would have been more fun if it was like they can still have those feelings, but it being more banter. And I think part of it is, since he is a man and he has more say and control over her, it wasn't fun or lighthearted. And she never got to perceive it that way. She only saw it as him being a man and domineering over her. And she's, part of her narrative is that she's resentful of being a woman and being unable to do the things that she actually wants to do, and having zero say over her life, which is like accurate. I'm giving this 3 stars. That's where my feelings are lying. I was still super engaged enough to like read the whole thing and be intrigued by the story. So I don't know if this will be my last Johanna Lindsay, but I might not seek out her titles as much anymore. I am curious to see what her newest books are. I just don't know how to discover those, because sometimes it's hard to look on Goodreads. They always rank the books by like the most popular to the least popular, and I would like to know like her more recent releases. So I don't know if there's a way to find that out. But yeah, so this is like a 3-star. I don't know if I would recommend this, especially for like modern tastes. But this was set in winter, which will help with my boards. So let's just quickly wrap up. There were a couple books that I did not get to. I did not get to these. I did not get to Defy the Heart, which is actually book 1 in this duology. I don't know if this character is announced in that book at all, but I was really curious about this one. This sounds like something that I might like. It's the same time period, and I'm wondering if I recognize any of these characters. I'm not sure, but I'm excited about that at some point. But I didn't get to this. I wasn't really feeling it. Book 3 in the London Underground. I am curious, and it's I think a couple that we've been kind of anticipating happening throughout this series. So at some point I will get to this. But for the wrap up, these are the books I've read. I will take note, I did read another book, but it was a contemporary book from my previous vlog. I did finish A Wedding in December, so I probably would have been able to fit a 4th book in here, but I used my time to finish that other book because I really needed to get that vlog finished. So anyways, the first book I finished was Counting on a Countess by Eva Lee. I listened to this on an audiobook and I gave it 3 stars. Then I finished A Lady in Disguise by Lindsay Sands. I gave this 4 stars, and I also listened to it on audiobook. And then physically I read Joining by Johanna Lindsay, and I'm giving this 3 stars. So has this been a success? It's been a success in a way where I finished some books, and I'm very thankful for that. Sadly 2 or 3 stars, but I did really like A Lady in Disguise. That was definitely my favorite. So let's take a look at this bingo board. Okay, so green and red on the cover. I think they all have some kind of green, some kind of, wow, this is backwards. I think they all have some kind of green or red. I did not read a Grace Burrows book. Takes place during the winter. This is during the winter, so I got that checked off. I did not read A Marriage in Trouble. I did not read a 2021 release. A non-titled hero. That didn't happen either. technically the hero here, he's not the Earl yet. He will be the Earl. I don't know if that means you would have a different title if you were the heir. I don't know. I don't know if that works. Should I check it off? Correct me down below. I'm going to check it off, but correct me down below. If you're an heir, are you titled? Let me know. They are all part of a series. New to me author. I've read from all these authors before, so unfortunately no for that. A clinch cover. This is a clinch. And this is a clinch. So all good. Not in Europe. Unfortunately, they're all in Europe. Rogue in the title. Nope. Wallflower. I'm counting her as a wallflower. Marriage of Convenience in here. I'm going to say all these authors are recommended to me because I see people on BookTube talking about them all the time. So I'm saying that. A Lady Heroine. I think they're all ladies in some shape or form. And they're all books I've owned. So I got the bottom line, and that's mostly because of Counting on the Countess. We're counting on a Countess. So that is this vlog. So in the beginning of this TBR project, I started with 258 books. At the beginning of this vlog, I had 248 books left to read. I read 3 of them in this vlog, and now I'm left with 245 books. If you got to the end, thank you so much for watching this entire video. I really appreciate it. If you participated, I would love to know what you read during the readathon. If you found any favorites, please let me know. If you've read any of these titles before, please comment down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about them. If you know much about Joanna Lindsay, comment down below. If you can recommend some really good ones of hers, that would be extremely helpful. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. If you have not done so, you can follow me on Goodreads and Instagram. And you know what? I want you to keep reading. Bye.